Hey everyone, it is Kai, and today we're going to talk about our good friend Steam Gunner Brody. Now, why are we talking about this very boring card from the Bruce trial deck? Its effect is very lame, right? Its effect is basically when this card is put on the Guardian Circle, you may counterblast 1 and it gets 5k shield. So it's a very simple effect. What's the big fuss about it? Well, there is a question that we did want clarified from Japanese Bushiroad support, and they did clarify it, which is good. They sent us the email, and the question was, why does this card's effect work when it intercepts? Because if you didn't know, it does work when intercepting. And I think some of you guys who do read card text more might have a good idea on why this works. But you know, we've played Cardfight Vanguard long enough to understand that reading is hard. Reading is a good skill to have that, you know, many of us just don't have the privilege of having. So we did clarify this with Japanese Bushiroad, and yes, they did give us a response. And the answer is that there has been a slight change in wording. So going back to old cards, right? And I have some examples right here. We've got Mac Lee here. You know, we all know this cool guy. A lot of, like, Sentinels, for example, have this condition that says when placed on the Guardian Circle, you can discard a card, and then your Vanguard basically can't be hit for that attack, right? And the thing is that if you intercept with this Sentinel, the effect doesn't trigger, because, you know, when placed effects don't trigger. In Japanese, the when placed is called Toujou shita toki, which is the old text, or Toujouji with the updated V text. So that's just a nice thing to have. But in Brody's text, his one is different. His one is okareta toki, which is roughly translated. Well, the little translation into English is when put, right? This is just putting it, right? So from that, we can kind of understand that when placed and when put is different, right? So putting seems to activate on intercepts, and placed doesn't, right? Now, if we think of the gist behind when placed, right? A lot of us shorten when placed is as CIP, which is just come into play. And the idea is that when this card comes into play, you can do the effect, or when it comes to play on the Guardian Circle, that's how we see as when placed effects. And if we think about it like that, if a card is already in play, it cannot come into play again, right? So if a card is in play on your field and you try to intercept it, it can't come into play. So maybe that's one way to look at it. But when you put something onto the field, or when you put something into a circle, it doesn't matter where it comes from, it'll always activate. So that is the key difference. Putting will trigger every time, right? When you intercept, when you move it, when it comes from the drop zone, etc., anything will activate an on put effect. So when we think about it like that, then what are some other cards which have a similar effect to Brody? Now, the people who've been noticing or been looking at Overdress, they might know this already, right? And that is the new nulls, right? The new nulls. Luckily for the nulls, we do have an English translation for them again. So you can see here, when this unit is put on the Guardian Circle, choose one of your units, and it cannot be hit until the end of that battle, and then it's got the second effect, right? So yes, these cards, these new nulls, have the exact same text as Brody, and that means they will activate no matter where it comes from, right? Even if you move it, right? So if it's on your Regard Circle and you move it to the Guardian Circle, this effect is going to activate. And that is kind of a new thing, right? Nulls usually always had to be placed from somewhere. They had to be called, right? Or they had to be placed from hand, you know, called from hand. If they were on the field and you move them with like a Gelito and all that, it didn't work. You know, if you had a null on the Guardian Circle, on the Regard Circle, and you had a Gurgit, it didn't work. When you had Decrons on the field and you had your null and you intercepted it, it didn't work. But now they do. And that's pretty big. I guess in standard right now, there's nothing that really does that. So unfortunate. But when we're going to premium, yes, I've just mentioned like Gelitos, I've mentioned the Decrons, and I've mentioned, what was the last one? Gurgit, right? Yeah. So I mentioned those will start working, and that actually gives more options on maybe why you would want to play these cards, right? Because before it's always just been the old nulls are better, you know, draw nulls are really, really good. But because of this interaction, right? And maybe in the future there's going to be more interactions where they give, you know, the ability to intercept and things like that. And yes, these nulls might actually be pretty decent. it might be a good alternative to what we have. So that's kind of it, right? That's kind of it. Brody's changed a lot, right? We can intercept with these new nulls, and we can get full nulls, and that basically means screw you, Ichikishima. You know, Ichitom, screw that. Yeah. I mean, to celebrate the moment, let's build a deck. Let's build a premium deck. Maybe we'll build a budget premium deck, Shadows, right? Because it's just the easiest one to build. So let's do that. Alright guys, if you know me, I'm a pretty lame deck builder. I love defensive stuff. So we're gonna build a Shadow deck today, and we're gonna make it like kind of standard plushish. We're gonna try not to make it that expensive, but I think some cards like Morfessa are already very expensive. And we're gonna build this around the idea that we're not paying money for Ezreal. So we're gonna use the new nulls, and we're gonna play super lame, right? So okay, we're gonna put an Overtrigger, of course. Overtriggers are really nice. We're gonna pull 4 of the new null. This is the theme for the deck, but we're just gonna intercept with nulls. And luckily, like the standard plus stuff kind of can do that, because we can use Morfessa to call a null out and then, you know, intercept with it, right? That's pretty cool. Or we can put nulls in the back and then use like Gelitos to push them up to null guard. So that's pretty nice. The first thing we have to do is get our V starter, because that is better than the D starter. Quite unfortunate, right? But that's the one thing. Oh, also we need to get heals. The heals have 5k more shield. And then we got Nemains, right? Nemains came out in like clan selection, so I think they're pretty cheap now. And then we can run the PBD engine, right? So we can run 1 PBD, 1 Bende, and then I think there's the Damp Hood, right? Damp Hood. So this space lets us superior right up, and lets us get to grade 3 really quickly. And then also gives us a force marker, so that's nice. And it also secures our grade 2 ride, which in standard would have, well, VBM would have been probably the weakest part of the deck. So we're gonna run a lot of Morfessas, because Morfessa will enable to get our nulls. Dekrums is here, so let's run 1 of that, because you know, we'll want to intercept. We can run more, but he's searchable, so I don't need to worry too much. We need a Blaster Dark, so let's run 1 Blaster Dark. So this is our deck so far. We've got a bunch of core cards, so you know, moving the null is nice. And then the Dekrans let us do that. And then we've got a Nemain to get our superior ride engine. And then the 4 Morfessas will let us multi-attack. And we're going to run old Luard. You know, old Dragheart Luard is cool. And then I guess one of the more expensive cards we're also going to put in is Cursed Eye Raven, sorry. But I think right now he's kind of cheap, because, you know, Luard is not meta. So get it while you can, boys. Oh, we can run this guy. We can run Connell. You don't know what he does? He's like, when it comes into play on the Guardian Circle, you can Soul Blast 1 and then move one of your rear guards to the Guardian Circle. And then the reminder text is that that units come into play on Guardian Circle effects will not activate. But because nulls aren't placed, they will activate. Yeah, so let's just run 1. 1 for the lulls. Okay, so here's a card that was very good back then. This is basically a countercharger and adds soul. It's like Vikral, and it only activates when it's sacrificed via a card with a ritual. But you know, all our strides really have ritual, so this is a good card to put in. Searchable via the main as well, so that's pretty good. We're gonna search for the Dragheart Luard, which is way back in TD land. So this one, this guy's pretty nice. Is that he puts 2 cards back, which is what you need, because you don't want to run out of stuff. And then you has a CB1, and then you sack 1, and then you call 2, which is pretty good. So I like Dragheart pretty good. Dragfall, not that bad either, but you don't put that many cards back. It's up to you. You can pick this one if you want. 2 Charons. 2 Charons with the counter charge is not bad. What else do we need to put in? We need to put in Abyssal Owls, I think. The new Abyssal Owl let us draw a bunch of cards. Put in 3. 3 will be good. What does our deck look like now? Alright, we need to complete our trigger lineup, so I think we can run critical triggers, just a bunch of crit. But we need the Cursed Eye Raven. 4 Cursed Eye Raven will be nice. And then we can run a critical. I think we can fill out our criticals with the Soul in critical from premium collections. So this one, just so we can build Soul and you know, go through the deck. And then we can fill it out with the premium collection 2 with 3 of this, because we're not going to stride that often, but I think sometimes if we do need to stride, it's good to have at least like 1 of these copies. So that kind of works. So now our trigger line, it's all done. And then we've got 5 slots left. What do we need to fill out? So, we need, okay, let's do Nightmare Painter. Nightmare Painter is all right. Probably like 1 or 2. And that'll give us some extra soul. Get rid of the critical trigger thing. Oh, we can run Brandwin as well. We can run like 2 Brandwins to try and search out Luards more. Dragheart Luards, and then later on we can build them out of the deck. So we can put like 1 or 2 Nightmare Painters in. We're at 49 now. Do we have exactly? So yeah, that's all good. Here. We could put more Connells in, right? Just to add to our theme a bit more. Here. This is kind of like a semi-beta as well, which is good. We could put more Decrons, just in case it goes to the damage, and then it ruins all our plans. And, you know, just put another Connell, man. Let's just put another Connell for the lulz. Alright, so that's 50 cards in the main deck. Let's go to our G-Zone. G-Zone's kind of easy for shadows. You want to put 1 Chain Rancor, because sometimes when you're on the killing blows already, you can kind of... Chain Rancor is better. We want a bunch of Morpheses. We can put like 3 Morpheses is usually enough. We can probably go to 4. We need probably 4 of Abyss, just because he's generally a decent card when things go wrong, and when things go right as well, he's alright. Run 1 Ultima, although he's not that valuable. Put the G-Guardians in, 1 of that. 2 Plotmakers. Plotmaker is pretty good. Gelito, we can put 2 Gelito. 2 Gelito is quite meta, because she's really good now with the, with just cards being fat. Well, ever since V came out, shield values have been pretty fat, so that's pretty nice. No point in running. There's like this G-Guardian, Root Vake, is it? This one? It's like, it moves 1, and that's it. So, it's not that good. I guess we can kind of just round out this deck with like 2 PBDs for the random win, and that kind of just 16 G-Zone. Or we can run 1 of this. We can run 1 of that. Do we have any space? Any space for this? No space? Quite unlucky. So I think that's pretty much it, right? So this is our deck so far. This is a meme deck, by the way, for sure. You know, if you want to play seriously, you just get Ezra's. It's like $50, right? But unlucky. So here, this is probably a good first draft for the deck. Hopefully, you know, PBD Superior Right Engine, Dragheart is our main grade 3. We got this meme engine set up for intercepting our nulls in. So we can beat the Scourge that is Oracle Think Tank, you know. Well, you know, if you can Gelito things out as well, that's nice. And then we're running like 7 crit, 4 stand. I think one of the good things about this setup is that, you know, if you Cursed Eye Raven out one of these nulls, you don't feel that bad too. Or you can run Dagda, but yeah, screw Dagda, man. Let's just call from the drop zone, you know? So Mufasa call from the drop zone. Mufasa calls out this guy, and then you swing in with like a plus 15k in a crit, and then you intercept with it. So that's pretty cool, right? And yeah, this is just the Stride deck. Pretty standard Stride deck, I guess. Like nothing really. But you probably take out the Ultima. Oh no. Just run Ultima and just over trigger, right? Yeah, come on. That's pretty mean. So this is pretty much a first draft of the deck. You know, we started off by getting all like our idea. You know, the idea was just running this, so we put 4 in, put the over trigger, and that's pretty much a staple. In Luard premium, staple is kind of, you know, the mains are really good, and then you can kind of if you can superior right engine, then yeah, put in the superior right engine usually every single time. Kind of filled out the rest of the deck just kind of by itself, you know, advantages, counter charge, basically just toolbox, yeah. So yeah, don't be too afraid of building a premium deck. Just as always, you have to iterate on it. I can already see that there's a big weakness here where if we don't get extra Luards, our deck is gonna suck. So I might want to put in more Brandwins, but also that if I miss in a main, I'm gonna have a tough time riding grade 2, right? There are 6 grade 2s, but sure, 6 grade 2s, 5 grade 3s. So if I miss my domains, it's like a feels bad moment. I think I did play old Luard, well not old Luard, but like kind of V Luard updated with the drag driver build, but I didn't like how I couldn't put stuff back into the deck. So I just like having Dragheart putting things back in the deck so we can cycle it out again. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I hope you guys have fun. There's a lot more ways to intercept with nulls, but hopefully like this new wording on these nulls means that there could be a lot of crazy things we could be doing in premium. Of course, this deck that I'm showing you right now, and Luard in general is not really that competitive anyway. If we're talking about premium, premium is pretty crazy right now. This deck will probably lose to all the loop decks, you know. It'll lose to Nuadayo. You'll lose to Kagero because it wipes your field. You'll lose to DI because it has Castile. You'll probably lose to what else does it lose to? Probably lose to Link Joker. At least this beats OGT, right? When you see Mo, just put this down and then, you know, intercept his like Itchy Toms and you feel good, right? That's it from me, guys. Let me know what crazy ideas you have, you know, with this revelation. If you already knew as well, just let me know in the comments below. Like saying, yeah, I knew it already, man. Yeah, so that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.